Welcome to Biochemistry DSP channel. Today I'll be discussing about the metabolism of glycogen, glycogenolysis. So the topic glycogenolysis will be discussed in today's topic. The term glycogenolysis means breakdown of glycogen into glucose in the liver. So its lysis means breakdown. Glycogenolysis is required to maintain blood glucose level in the normal reference range. The enzymes which are involved in glycogenolysis includes glycogen phosphorylase, which is the key enzyme. Then the other enzymes are glucose transferase and debranching enzymes. So these are the main enzymes which are required to the process of glycogenolysis. So role of glycogen phosphorylase. This glycogen will undergo phosphorylase action. Okay, phosphorylation of glucose will take place. Phosphorylation means adding a phosphate to the terminal glucose residue. So one by one the terminal glucose residues will be phosphorylated with the help of the enzyme called phosphorylase enzyme. And the terminal glucose residue will be cleaved in the form of glucose 1-phosphate. Glucose 1-phosphate. So with the action of this glycogen phosphorylase, glucose will be phosphorylated, and this terminal glucose residue will be cleaved in the form of glucose 1-phosphate. It is not cleaved as free glucose. With the help of this enzyme glycogen phosphorylase, terminal glucose residues are one by one, it will be cleaved in the form of glucose 1-phosphate. This glycogen phosphorylase will split alpha-1,4 glucosidic linkages of the glycogen chain from the non-reducing end, leaving 4 glucose residues on either side of the branch point. So it can cleave one by one the glucose by phosphorylating, and it will cleave the glucose in the form of glucose 1-phosphate, leaving 4 glucose residues nearer to the branch point. So suppose this is the branch point, means here also it will leave 4 glucose residue, and here also it will leave 4 glucose residue. It cannot cleave this glucose residues. So this 4 glucose residues will remain as such because the phosphorylation action cannot proceed due to this establishment of this branch point. So this glycogen phosphorylase will act repeatedly on the non-reducing end of the glycogen branches until it leaves 4 glucose residues away from the alpha-1,6 branch point. After that, its action cannot take place. So its action will be stopped here. So the next enzyme is glucose transferase. It's also called as alpha-1,4,1,4 glucose transferase. Okay. This is the enzyme glucosyl transferase or alpha-1,4,1,4 glucose transferase. The role of this enzyme is to remove a fragment of 3 glucose residue. Okay, it has to remove. It will transfer or remove 3 glucose residue from one branch point, and it will transfer it to the non-reducing end of another chain, exposing the alpha-1,6 glucose residue. So here this linkage, the green color glucose residue is there now. So this here only it has got alpha-1,6 glycosidic linkage. So this enzyme glucose transferase will transfer 3 glucose unit from one branch point, and it will transfer it to the non-reducing end of another chain, exposing this alpha-1,6 glucose residue, so that it will expose the branching point, so that debranching enzyme can cleave this glucose. So that is the role done by this glucose transferase. The name itself says transferase. It will transfer a trisaccharide unit. Okay, 3 glucose residues will be transferred from one glucose residue to the another, exposing the alpha-1,6 glucose. Now the branching enzyme. The name of the branching enzyme is amylo-1,6 glucosidase. So this is the debranching enzyme. Okay, the debranching enzyme role is to remove the glucose which is present in the nearer the branching point. So the near to the branching point, the alpha 1,6 glucosidic residue, which remains a single glucose residue is there, which will be cleaved by the debranching enzyme called amylo 1,6 glucosidase, which will cleave this enzyme, this amylo 1,6 glucosidase enzyme will cleave this glucose in the form of free glucose. So by the action of this debranching enzyme only, free glucose will be formed. Whereas by the action of glycogen phosphorylase, it will be phosphorylating the terminal glucose residue, and it will be cleaved in the, all the glucose residues will be cleaved in the form of glucose 1 phosphate. Whereas with the action of debranching enzyme, free glucose will be liberated. Now the glycogen core is having only alpha 1,4 linkage. There is no alpha 1,6 branch point. Now the same enzyme, the first enzyme, phosphorylase enzyme, can phosphorylate this terminal glucose residues one by one, and it can cleave in the form of glucose 1 phosphate. So with the role of these three enzymes, glycogen phosphorylase, glucose transferase, and debranching enzyme, we get a free glucose residue as well as glucose 1 phosphate. So this is the action done by phosphorylase. Phosphorylase role is to cleave one by one from both the branch points. It will cleave one by one all the glucose residue by phosphorylating the glucose, and it will cleave the glucose in the form of glucose 1 phosphate. It will leave three, that is nearer to the branch point. Here only the branch point is there. It will leave 4 glucose residues nearer to the branch point, and after that it cannot have its role because there is a branch point is there. So the next enzyme, glucose transferase, will transfer a trisaccharide unit from this branch point, and it will transfer to the another branch point, exposing this alpha 1,6 glucosidic linkage. Now debranching enzyme can cleave this glucose in the form of and liberate the glucose in the form of free glucose. Now the glycogen is only with alpha 1,4 linkage. Again this phosphorylase enzyme, it does not have any hindrance. There is no alpha 1,6 branch points, so it can do the action. It can one by one, it can again phosphorylate all the glucose residue, and it will cleave these glucose in the form of glucose 1 phosphate. So this is the entire pathway. By the action of this glycogen phosphorylase, you get glucose 1 phosphate, and with the help of glucose transferase, 3 glucose units will be transferred to the other branch point, exposing the alpha 1,6 glucose residue for the debranching enzyme to do its action. With the help of debranching enzyme, that one single glucose will be cleaved, and it will be liberated as free glucose. Now you got, with the role of this phosphorylase, you got glucose 1 phosphate. This glucose 1 phosphate, with the help of the enzyme phosphoglucomutase, it will be converted into glucose 6 phosphate, and with the help of this enzyme glucose 6 phosphatase in the liver. Phosphatase role is to remove the phosphate. So in the sixth question, phosphate will be removed in the help of the enzyme glucose 6 phosphatase in the liver, because glucose 6 phosphatase is present only in the liver, not in the muscle. So this glucose 6 phosphatase role will take place only in the liver, converting glucose 6 phosphate into glucose. Whereas in the muscle, since there is no glucose 6 phosphatase, directly this glucose 6 phosphate will enter into glycolytic pathway, and it is utilized for energy. Now regulation of this glycogenolysis. So glycogenolysis is controlled by the key regulatory enzyme called glycogen phosphorylase. Again, the three mechanisms which regulate glycogenolysis are allosteric regulation, hormonal regulation, and camp mediated regulation. Allosteric regulation of glycogenolysis. So in the starvation state, glycogenolysis will be stimulated. So when glycogenolysis is required means when there is insufficient amount of glucose. So during starvation condition only energy is required in more amount. So glycogenolysis will be triggered by the allosteric activation of the enzyme glycogen phosphorylase. It will be sensed by the low concentration of glucose in the liver and glucose 6 phosphate in the muscles. Now glycogen breakdown is inhibited in well-fed state by high concentration of glucose in the liver. Then influence of calcium has got a role in regulating the glycogenolysis. During muscle contraction, Release of calcium from the sarcoplasmic reticulum will in turn cause an increase in the intracellular calcium concentration, which will enhance the breakdown of muscle glycogen. Calcium ions will bind to calmodulin, and calcium calmodulin complex in turn activates glycogenolysis by activating the enzyme glycogen phosphorylase. High level of AMP is a positive modulator of this enzyme glycogen phosphorylase. Hormonal regulation of glycogenolysis. Glucagon and epinephrine will regulate glycogen breakdown as well as glycogen synthesis. This epinephrine and glucagon will stimulate glycogen breakdown and inhibit glycogenesis. So when glycogenolysis is taking place, the other pathway glycogenesis should not occur. Okay, so simultaneously both glycogenolysis and glycogenesis will not occur. So it is controlled by the hormonal regulation of glucagon and epinephrine, which will control which will regulate glycogenolysis and as well as glycogen synthesis. So in the presence of epinephrine and glucagon, glycogen breakdown will be activated, whereas glycogenesis will be inhibited. Epinephrine and glucagon will activate the key enzyme glycogen phosphorylase. Hence, glycogenolysis will be activated. So this is how the enzyme will activate hormone. So glucagon in the liver and epinephrine in the muscle will convert ATP into cyclic AMP in the presence of the enzyme called adenylate cyclase. So more amount of cyclic AMP will be produced. This cyclic AMP will in turn convert the inactive form of protein kinase into active protein kinase. So protein kinase role is to phosphorylate whatever enzyme come closer to it, it will phosphorylate. Now in glycogenolysis, the key enzyme is glycogen phosphorylase. So we are talking only about glycogen phosphorylase here. So in the presence of protein kinase, what will happen to this glycogen phosphorylase? It will be phosphorylated. So it also exists in two forms, dephosphorylated form as well as in the phosphorylated form. So phosphorylated form of this phosphorylase enzyme is active form. Remember, okay? Whereas phosphorylated form of glycogen synthesis inactive form. Whereas here glycogen phosphorylase is active only in the phosphorylated form, whereas it is inactive in the dephosphorylated form. So protein kinase role is to phosphorylate whatever enzymes comes closer, it will phosphorylate. So now it is phosphorylating the glycogen phosphorylase. We all know that the phosphorylated form is active form. So the inactive form of glycogen phosphorylase is converted into active form of glycogen phosphorylase in the presence of the enzyme called protein kinase, which will stimulate glycogenolysis. So this is how CAMP and glucagon and epinephrine will regulate glycogenolysis. CAMP mediated regulation of glycogenolysis. So epinephrine and glucagon are activated via the second messenger CAMP. CAMP activates the enzyme protein kinase. Protein kinase will phosphorylate the glycogen phosphorylase. Phosphorylated form of glycogen phosphorylase is active form of the enzyme. Hence glycogenolysis will be activated. So this is the main thing, pathway. Okay. So how protein kinase will help in the conversion of this phosphorylation. Okay. So it will phosphorylate the phosphorylase kinase, which in turn convert the inactive form of glycogen phosphorylase into active form of glycogen phosphorylase. So glycogenolysis will take place. So glycogen will be converted into glucose 1-phosphate and glucose. So in the presence of insulin, the other form will be there. Protein phosphatase will be activated, which in turn convert the active form of phosphorylase into inactive form. So in the presence of insulin, one reaction will be taking place. In the presence of epinephrine, the other form of enzyme will be activated. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe and support the channel by Chemistry.